Afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Budget Work Session for our second for this Friday, October 22nd, 2021. It's 1:32 p.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. We have Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards, Commissioner Carolina Mejia, Ramiro Chavez, our County Manager, Robin Campbell, our Assistant County Manager, Denise Doty and Patty Rosetto from our budget staff, and we're jumping right back in. It'll be hard for me to explain to the public where we left off. We're in the middle of policy items that do not affect the general fund. We're going through a series of worksheets, and I'm not sure exactly where we left off. I'll leave that to Robin to explain.
Thank you, Commissioner. You did a fine job explaining where we are. So we are actually on the non-general fund policy requests for all other funds packet. On line number 17 on page 4, and the budget change request number is B29-04. And this is the request for the advanced life support training coordinator. During the break, and Commissioner Menser, I apologize that you do not have this. I made copies of the memo that we received from Kurt Harden. So I would suggest that we put this item on hold until you all have time to take a look at this memo. It is a 6-page memo, so it will take a little time for you to read through it and absorb. So let's put this item on hold until Monday.
Okay, I just saw that Kurt had sent me an email over the lunch break, I think, but I didn't have time to read it. I just saw that it came in.
Right. It's fine that we come back to this item. So moving on then to line 19, B2905. This is funding for increased costs for Medic 1 to provide advanced life support, just the operating costs to provide the service. It's $258,000 in the first year, $303,000 in the second year, and this was ranked high by all commissioners. It would pay for costs like inflation, supplies, medical supplies, PPE, pharmaceuticals, and small tools and minor equipment.
The cost of doing business.
It is the cost of doing business, this business.
I think in the presentation we had questions about the second year's worth, and I'm the one that has I'm in the notes. It says high for the first year and medium for the second year, and that was me. I was more comfortable with the first year's worth, but then we were kind of discussing, if I remember correctly, that would there be another $300,000 of, because this is an ongoing thing, right? So we put. Or how does this work, Robin?
Well, again, and you may recall the little worksheet that I handed out yesterday. Well, in a biennial budget, when we're moving away from an annual and into a biennial budget, you use this year's budget as the starting point for each year. So if it's an ongoing cost, you add that to each year, roughly the same amount of money. This one's a little higher to account for inflation factors and possibly other needs, but this is appropriate for an ongoing cost.
Okay, well, I'm okay with it if my seatmates are.
Then I got 3 thumbs up on this.
I guess I just want to make a statement as we move forward on this. And I don't know if it'll help us move forward faster or not, but I happen to sit on the EMS board, and that board is made up of elected officials from throughout Thurston County, the municipalities, fire commissioners, doctors from St. Pete's. And these folks have already went through this and made this recommendation. So I'm not gonna be questioning but I'll try to answer questions for my seatmates, should they have some that I might have knowledge on. But I'd just like the public to know that's why I'm not engaging to the extent that I normally do. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
So would it be fair, Commissioner, to say that much like the TST Advisory Committee, the EMS Council recommends to the Board of County Commissioners
Yes.
to approve all of these items?
Yeah, but they're holding a little different status in the community than the TST advisors, because
I would
the
agree.
majority of them are all elected officials from around the county,
Right.
different jurisdictions.
It is a formal council
Yes.
made up of elected officials.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. So that is 05, and then we move on to B2906. This is $500,000 in the first year and $1 million in the second year, again related to advanced life support. And this is for the contracted support of our fire agencies. And you see comments, there is a comment on this one. Whenever a commissioner wrote a comment on the scorecard, I tried to capture it. One commissioner ranked it medium at $500,000 a year, otherwise would have ranked the proposal as low.
I think Commissioner Messer, you had a question on this. I think the question was if it was, what is the difference since it's 500,000 in 2022, it doubled in 2023. Was that your question, you may recall?
I think so. I think I'm maybe remembering this one where what I was saying about the last one. Why is it expected to double? And I was comfortable just adding 500,000 to each year without a further explanation, I guess. But
Yeah, and I don't,
So on the thing, Denise has her hand up.
oh, cool. Hi, Denise.
I'm going to do my best. Olivia's off today, and she's the one that reviewed this department. So, but what I'm seeing when I look at the budget in this part of the organization, it actually ends up that it has the same level. So it's about $10 million. $10 million both in 2022 and 2023, although that incremental difference in the second year is higher. And let me take one more look. And so I can't really tell you exactly why that one line item went up so much. I'm sorry, Commissioner Menzer, but the end result is that part of the organization is basically the same both years. I don't know if that's helpful. I don't have anything else to add.
So the letter, thank you, Denise. The letter that Kurt sent on the second page says the total ALS contracts for the 3 fire agencies is expected to increase by $500,000 a year. And that's,
for how many years?
the current contract for 2021 is $9.5 million. And by this proposal, it would increase to $10 million in 22 and 10.5 in 23. It doesn't say if it would continue to increase at that rate. It doesn't say if it's increased in that rate in the past. And it doesn't really say why it goes up at that rate.
I guess I think I have a note in I think the missing piece of information is that this is $10 million because I've got a note that says inflation is 5.9% this year. And 500,000 is just 5% on 10 million. So
Well, there you go.
I guess they're just trying to account for inflation at 5% on a very huge contract. So
That could be.
And if you see the 10-year financial plan, obviously this robust fund, and they have a robust and a fund balance to support this.
okay. I don't think I realized that there was 10 million. It was basically a 5% of a $10 million aggregate. So
Okay. All right, good. Well then, thumbs up from, I know we've got two. Are you good with it, Commissioner? All right, good. Now, line 21 is related. This is an FTE to add a basic life support senior EMS instructor. So another trainer for a different type of training.
So the same
For
as
medical.
Paul that look at the opportunity to read this memo? Because there's
Yeah.
new positions of trainers, right?
Okay,
Because that was the decision on
Yeah, the
item
trainer.
17 and 18.
What did you say, Romero?
Yeah, the board decided to hold until we have the opportunity to read Kurt's memo.
Oh, okay.
For
And,
trainers.
For trainers, because line item 17 and 18 is also a trainer. And this is for the other side of.
There's ALS and BLS.
Yeah.
right.
LA is the EMS.
So I'm gonna mark that one on hold and we'll come back to it next week. All right, so we're at the top of page 6. The line number is 23 and the change request is B2908. This is Medic One Basic Life Support Increased Operating Costs. And again, it's extra help when they need it, professional services, increased costs for vaccinations, and other costs of doing business. A thumb up. I'm seeing 1, 2 thumbs up. Commissioner Menzer, questions before?
No.
All right, so thumbs up from you?
Yeah.
Okay. Line 25. Line 25 is $300,000 a year for Medic One basic life support, financial support to the fire agencies. So this is like the flip side of 08. Yeah,
It's operational needs,
yeah,
which that was the basis in which.
ALS and
increase was.
BLS,
There's 12 fire departments.
Right.
yep.
Thumbs up on that one.
I got 2 thumbs up, 3 thumbs up. I'm gonna pause a moment, because I don't wanna lose the conversation that started before the break, where 2 commissioners were expressing, I wouldn't say concerns, but making comments that when we pass the levy, here it seems like there's a lot of new costs going in that were unexpected. So this is a good time for me to remind the board that if at any point you want to hold an item and invite a director or someone from an elected official's office to come and chat with you, either about a body of the requests or a specific request, that is always an option for you.
I want to read the letter because it appears that he might have answered a lot of our concerns in the letter.
So why don't we skip the rest of emergency services and come back to it on Monday?
Well, the next one, it seems like it's data support and ER and R, and I had questions about those two. Are those gonna be grouped together with the rest of the ER and R? Or no, just kidding, for data support? Is that gonna be grouped with the technological group, or is it just gonna be
So
No,
what-
sorry,
I'm
just
sorry.
scratch that.
No,
I got confused with I saw ER&R and I thought ERP for some reason, and my brain like switched the two letters, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, well, are we gonna discuss that with the ERP, but it's not the same thing,
No,
so, sorry.
it's different.
The ERN is to maintain the units.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my suggestion is really, because this is really operational needs, but certainly you can.
I guess I might make mention that over the last few years, leading up to the vote on Medic One, Kurt was cutting back in certain areas, extending life in certain areas, so he could keep that budget flowing out, and everything met, you know, your lines.
Right?
So that's probably what is going on. I can't say that on every item, because, you know, I didn't sit on the budget committee that put this together. That was a different group of members of the EMS council. But that's the way it was going okay, so I've been on there for the last 5 years, and that's been steadily reviewed as to how we can match out services and revenue. And that's why now they're making up for some of that. And if you think about the expense of ambulances, remember we bought some gurneys here a while back and they cost more than a car. You know, and that was to prevent, because our patients are heavier and individuals were being injured on the job, some of our firefighters. It was just part of the cost of doing business, and I haven't read this latest memo that Kurt sent in, but I know you can call him, he's watching us.
I'm sure, yeah. He sent an email.
Yeah.
Very attentively.
So whatever you wanna do is okay with me, I'm fine with it.
I'm just telling you what your options are.
Yep.
So if you'd like to keep going, we can. If you'd like to hold Medic One until Monday, that's okay too.
And everybody will have time to read the memo.
Yep.
Any commissioners, any feedback? We can probably continue on, if I may, and if you feel any item that needs to be revisited, we'll bring back Monday, in addition to the other two you put on hold.
Right. It's always okay to say, put an item on hold, we can get back to it. So, taking that approach, line 26 is for Medic One data support. This is to pay for IT needs for the Medic One program.
As you may remember, I asked the question of how this is associated with the 911 outfitting of the radios is a little bit different, and I believe Kurt provided a good explanation as to why this is needed.
I'm not there yet with this one.
Okay.
I said the 50% of it as high and 50% medium, but that was just kind of just a notes to myself. Obviously, I'd like to revisit this one next week.
Okay, cool. The next one, line 27, is Medic One ER&R. This is to add 14 ventilators, 1 radio, 140 tablet batteries.
Those are the little tablets each one of the medics carry.
Batteries is a hard thing for us to put in a savings account, but okay. And then the vehicle, which is much more typical ER&R, to start contributing to ER&R out of this budget so that the money's available when the time comes to replace these items. And it looks like in 2023, some equipment would be purchased. So they would put all of that also through ER&R for medic units, AEDs, MCPs, tablets, not just the batteries, and gurneys, 2 gurneys, and a couple of radios. So the reason the second year is quite a bit higher is that they would replace these items and then start to contribute regularly to ER&R for those.
You comfortable moving forward on this item, or you'd like to call?
I'm good. It's a high cost, it's a big business.
But this is equipment that is needed to be replaced.
Okay, so I've got 2 thumbs up, Commissioner Menzer, where are you on this one?
I'll be thumbs up for now.
All right. Thumbs up at this point is. Now we're on page 8, line 29, B3807. So we have moved into the Information Technology Department. IT is requesting an additional FTE, a project manager to support IT operations, and really what this person would be doing is supporting the large system replacement projects. We currently have 1 person doing that. She is overtaxed, and we really need a second one to move forward on these major projects.
You may recall the Sheriff's Office sent a letter to the board earlier in the year for you to consider putting the replacement of the ADAMS system in their office a little bit of a higher priority. Although the priority, I think, is well worth the request, but it was really the resources behind it is we don't have. Because the current project managers right now is concentrating on the ERP and the Amanda system. And those are big replacements. And this is really a request to add additional resources to continue the replacement of those big systems that we have in place. And having a project manager, it has been proved very, very successful. So.
I'm going to advocate for this one. I ranked it high. I feel our list of current projects is so long, and everyone is kind of knocking at our doors. I mean, to this point, we've been operating with outdated systems, and we're at the point where it's now at a culmination where we have to do something. And we saw it with the letter from the sheriff, how they're having. But it's not just the sheriff, it's also the auditor who also has systems that she wants to replace. It's all their offices as well who want to replace their systems. And so I see the need in this to kind of be sure that we're moving along, but also having the current systems that we have up to date. So I voted high on this just because I see a need in it if we're gonna keep moving into the 20th century.
I'm with Commissioner Mejia. I want to move into the 20th, even though I'm old.
The 21st, yeah.
Yeah.
If we just move to the 20th, I'll be happy right now.
Your thoughts,
All right.
Commissioner Menzer?
No, I mean, I agree with everything. It's just about timing. I mean, if $136,000 was going to replace the sheriff's and the auditor systems, that'd be done. But this is just like a person who then could help us with the actual system that we would have some other price tag, which I don't know what those price tags are, but with ERP, it's like millions of dollars in Amanda. So if we actually can't afford the systems, then I'm not sure why we would be hiring someone to implement systems. So it kind of feels like putting the cart before the horse to me, but I agree we'd need to move this direction.
Right. So the project manager and the extreme value that we have found with the one that we have already is they assist in helping us determine what our needs are, and then we can figure out what the costs are. But we've already got estimates going into, for these big systems like ATOMs, going into the large system reserve. So we've got money. They updated the rates and you approved the adjusted rates. You will recall that in a few of the budgets you reviewed in the first 2 weeks of this month, we saw the internal service rates go up a lot. That's because we adjusted the amounts going into the large system reserve because we now know these large systems are gonna cost so much more. So we're already collecting the money for the systems. That's not to say it's going to be enough money, but I think the bulk of the money for the systems will be there. We need project managers who will work with the offices and departments, help us figure out our requirements, improve our business processes so we're not paving the cow pasture. We need this kind of help to stand them up.
Cow pasture, I'm sorry.
Sorry, yeah. A long time ago, I took a class in, well, I've taken a lot of classes in computer systems, but one of the things that the professor said was you don't pave the cow pasture, meaning you don't want to implement something in a computer system that's not worth doing. You want to improve your processes first, and then you implement a system for the better process. You don't implement a system doing what you're doing today, otherwise why are you paying all that money for it? And it's these kind of program managers that help the subject matter experts to think beyond what they're doing today and improve their processes instead of just automating processes that are inefficient. The system will be inefficient if it's an inefficient process to start with. That's the real value of these project managers.
And we fundamentally changed when we made the argument to create an IT department. And with the objective is we needed to make sure that we take the time to analyze the needs before we embark in purchasing a system. And so the model it has been working well because prior to that, and I myself have been guilty, we just tend to hear the bells and whistles of a vendor that is doing all these wonderful things to meet our needs. And when we purchase the software, we find ourselves there is more and doesn't meet the requirements because we have not taken the time to go through the business analysis that we need.
Odyssey and Jabs.
Yeah, but on the flip side of the success is the case management system. The prosecutor and the public defender are just in the process of launching it if they haven't done it already. And that took some time working with the project manager to determine what the business needs are and just working through what I call the system architecture to determine what that is and proven to be successful. So, and again, I believe this is a well worth investment for the board to consider.
Okay,
So we got 3 thumbs up on this. Yay, this is gonna be so good for the county. All right, line 30, B3808 is additional infrastructure for county operations for IT. And this is a proposal for one-time funding of $275,000 worth of IT equipment. This would provide at-rest encryption, meet data standards, SIEGES, HIPAA are some of the requirements that would this equipment would help us to meet. So I know that you have concerns about this.
Yeah, my suggestion is, if the board is agreeable, to come back this on Monday, because I believe Dennis is in the process of submitting a cost of how much it will cost to have storage in the cloud. And I think that was the request from Commissioner McCullough.
Right.
For me, I'll lay it out clear, and I'm gonna, for this at this moment, I'm a no. I just don't think we should keep investing in archaic systems. But that's just me, so that's my opinion.
Denise popped up.
Hi,
Go ahead,
Denise.
please. When Denise pops up, it's usually good information, so I'm going to interrupt everybody else.
Everybody stops, Denise.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, welcome to the party.
Right. I just wanted to share that Dennis did send a short PowerPoint, and probably having a chance to process it and look at it Monday is a good idea. He did provide some cost information, including direct connection to, I think it's Amazon Web Services, AWS or Azure, runs up to $15,000 a month. Cloud storage runs $5,000 to $8,000 a month for 75 terabytes. I'm assuming that's a lot. And he provided some, and I'll send this on to Robin so she can share. So for total cost to host, I think it's best for me not to just read this, but to provide it for you. At least you know that we have some information, we can share it.
Right. Thank you, Denise.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if the board is willing, we'll put this on hold, get you the additional information and pick it up again on Monday with the other items on hold.
It's okay with me. I'm tending to go with Dennis just because I don't know enough. Usually I would follow along with Commissioner Mejia, but Dennis has never given me reason to question any of the recommendations that he made. So, and I just throw that out there. I mean, and I don't know enough about the cloud or other modems or, I don't know. The only thing I know about computers, I hear it on the news. Nobody's got one.
All right.
That was funny.
That takes us to the end of the all other funds. And we'll move now, I have public health as number 5. Yeah, let's go ahead. So public health and social services, they're mainly funded, they've got 2, 3, I want to say they've got 4 major funds, possibly 5. They have the, their main fund is Fund 1500, that's the public health fund. They have a community fund, that's Fund 1400, it includes housing. Then they have the Veterans Fund, the TST Fund, and the Environmental Health Fund. So there are 5. We have separated out environmental health because it will have fund balance issues because you have some alternative options on that one. And we've separated TST out of the pack. So the policy requests that we're about to go through are for public health, community support, and the Veterans Fund. And we're going to start on page 1, and again, we're in 5, non-general fund policy change requests for public health and social services. Line 1 is for the Veterans Fund. Public Health is requesting authority to increase the appropriation available to provide rental assistance to veterans. $250,000 a year in increase. me, there's a thumbs up, I've got one thumbs
Tell
up.
me this, if we're giving them the authority to do it, if the request doesn't come in, it just rolls forward, right?
That's right, if they don't
If they
spend
don't
the
spend
money, it remains in fund balance. Right, but
Okay.
you will recall that the Veterans Fund has a substantial
Yes.
fund balance.
You got me, I mean, I'm here, I'm not arguing
Yeah.
against it. I'm
Right, just trying to
just
understand
clarifying
it.
something.
Yep.
But no, but you're right. I mean, it is, you increase, with this item, you could increase the expenditure. But if the applications coming in from veterans doesn't meet that.
Yeah.
And the fund balance.
Yeah, okay, good, I'm good.
Commissioner Mejia?
So for me, I don't mind, I think this is great, but when are we gonna see a plan on kind of like what the rest of the future holds for this fund?
On November 2nd, you will have a pilot project for your consideration to implement in the Veterans Fund. And at that point, Mark will come and also give you additional perspective. And also, Mark and I had a conversation to send somewhat of a reporting. I just received an email this morning as to some of the activities that he and the advisory board are completing. I will start sending those to you as I receive them, so you can see what some of the activities they're currently working on. I think that might be helpful.
I guess I'd just say that I've been communicating with the county manager about this topic, and it sounds like we've had some deficiencies pointed out by citizens and that we're working to correct them. I'm very concerned that we do that, but I think we are headed in the right direction.
So if I make a conversation with this, somewhat of a pendulum. Years ago, the pendulum was here, and it was this fund was almost in the red. So at that point, the board at that time reduced the benefits. And with the intent to get a hold of the ended fund balance that was in the red. So the pendulum starts shifting. Now, here we are on the other end, that we have a significant ended fund balance. We'll be providing the board with options. And hopefully we can find the right balance if we provide the services to the veterans in need, indigent, if I may say, and yet continue to have a good fund to continue to provide the service in the future without getting into the red as we were 8 years ago, maybe.
Oh, yeah. 7 or 8 years,
So-
that sounds right.
Yep.
So my question is, if they're going to come forward 5 days after the board makes decisions with a pilot program, are they going to need?
This is outside of,
I'm sorry?
the pilot project is outside of this report.
Outside of this?
It's within their budget authority.
Oh, it's within their current budget authority. Okay, that was my question. Do they need more money than this?
No, it's more operational request, the activity type of.
Okay, cool. So I saw 2 thumbs. Commissioner Mejia, thumbs up on this? Yes, thank you. Line 2, we're moving into the big fund, 1,500 for public health. And it's B4023, Public Health Nurse Family Partnership. They're asking for an additional 1.5 positions. This is the one where we had a conversation about possibly removing the end date. So if I recall the conversation during the presentation, this is a current position. They're asking you to extend the end date through June of 2022 because they receive a grant. And there is a reasonable expectation that they will receive the grant year after year. So what I am proposing to you is you would remove the end date instead of extend it. And if for any reason the grant does not come in the future, the department will know that they need to manage appropriately. So if you're comfortable removing the end date, we would calculate how much it really is, but it's got grant revenue behind it. You're okay with that? You are too, and I see two hands.
He has a paper in front of him.
I think so.
And Gretchen's still running the show over there, right?
Gretchen is running the show.
I'm just trying to, I had the request as a high and I was going to support it, but I'm just trying to figure out if what you're saying about end date is something different than what I had rated that I need to think about further because I'm not necessarily tracking that piece.
So you're fine with the way it's proposed, you might be okay with the end date removal. Is that a fair?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna put a yes to the way it is, and I'm gonna put a star, and we can come back to the question of the end date.
Didn't this discussion have to do with retention and recruiting?
Yes, it does. It
Yeah,
really
and
does.
maybe even, I believe my question was, if it's an end date of June 30, 2022, and this, if the board approves this particular position, we wouldn't start recruitment until January 1st.
Wasn't the discussion that the grant is very likely to
Yeah,
continue?
and that's what,
Exactly.
and that was the suggestion to remove the end date.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay, excellent.
I'm remembering the discussion now. I just couldn't track it from
Right.
before.
Too much
Thank you.
NyQuil.
Therapy.
I don't know that that's really the culprit.
It's an easy thing to blame it on, Commissioner.
Okay.
Line 3 is B4024. This is the request for a public health and social services immunization coordinator position.
It's fully funded.
Yeah,
I'm
fully funded through grant money, the Concon. Yep.
Yep.
Approved. Commissioner Mejia, approved. All right, 3 thumbs up on that. Line 4 on page 2. This is one of the requests for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think that we're pulling together a bucket of all of the requests for DEI, so I would suggest that we put this one on hold and look at them all together.
Denise says it comes up, so
Okay. So we'll come back.
if I see Denise's thumb up, then my thumb's up.
Line 5 on page 3 is to provide funding for a public health education outreach specialist 3 who is bilingual and will do case investigation.
So I had questions in regards to this one. I rated it a medium just because I wanted to have a conversation on this one. And my whole thing was, do they currently have outreach specialists that are bilingual, and could they give them the 5% increase on that? And my second question in regards to this, like, well, what are they doing now? So that's kind of the line of my question.
I think I had some of those same concerns about making sure that staff was hired. I mean, I don't know how they do it over there, but a point system and giving extra points for bilingual. I've been doing that, well, law enforcement's been doing that for 40 years. So I was kind of stumped by that. So I'm kind of in line with Commissioner Mejia on this. I do have concerns that it can't be handled from within. That's kind of my initial concern about it. And I think my rating probably shows that.
Yeah, let me check, because this may be associated with a foundational public health. The department's gonna get, and maybe some of the requirements they need in order to meet that new funding.
Well, I think they ought to have about 24 bilingual people in that group anyway, myself.
So if you set the bilingual designation aside, do they need another FTE? I mean, that would be a question, because as I read this, they say they are required to have staffing available to respond and investigate 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and that they are currently unable to fulfill weekend holiday case investigation requirements. So it sounds like they need an FTE regardless of the bilingual designation, and that they're trying to address the language barrier at the same time.
So I would be open to doing one FTE. I just, because it's add 2 FTE.
Denise, is this 2 FTEs?
Well, I believe Commissioner Mejia is talking about line item number 4.
No,
She's looking at number 5.
yeah.
It's only one.
Over on their presentation, they said add 2 FTE.
One.
It's 1.
That's one, so
It's
the
just
presentation was,
one.
okay.
Okay.
And I have one other piece of information for you that might be helpful. It's, they say, they're saying that currently they're using a more expensive language line service rather than hiring staff. And that a native speaker will do better with language that's commonly spoken in our communities and in the homes. This position is a lower cost alternative than hiring what has been traditionally done in this program, which is to hire community health nurses and epidemiologists. We'll also risk losing funding from the State Department of Health if we don't meet the required target outcomes and timeliness and case levels.
So that is the key. I think we're gonna be at the risk of losing funding from the state.
So then, I
Right.
mean, what's B4042, because that's kind of tied together, and that's number 16, which is a public and social services education outreach specialist 3 bilingual. So, I mean, for me at this point, I'm willing to do,
So that is a really good question. Why do we see this twice?
I'm willing to do one or the other. Like, that's kind of like where I'm at.
So the one on B4028 is for case investigation. And the one on, well, it says case investigation and contact tracing. Commissioner Mentzer, you were gonna chime in?
I'm not, yeah, and I'm not,
It's a different thing.
with all, oh, sorry, am I muted?
No, you're fine. You're talking, we're
You're good.
listening.
I'm sorry, you're all talking at the same time. What did you say?
We can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, I just wanted, and I'm taking it up a level from Commissioner Mejia, with all due respect to her questions, because it sounds like they're on target, but taking this up a level, we've got this, as I understood it, and I missed the first part of the public health, but I watched it on YouTube, so I actually didn't miss it. We've got this like $500 and some $1,000 of new money that's got to be directed to cross-cutting foundational public health work. And staff came up with a proposal for how to allocate that. And Robin said at the beginning of the presentation, she said, well, it's in the board's discretion, and that's true, of course, but there was no alternatives presented. I mean, it wasn't like with TST where we got a flavor of some of the things that were denied, and we could say, oh, I'd rather do that thing that was denied than this. I mean, we're basically like, here's $570,000 worth of funding, and here's how we propose to spend it. So I'm all for making sure we spend it in the best way possible, but I just wanted to make sure the board was tracking that we're in this particular funding context. If we don't spend it on this, it seems like we need to have an alternative set of choices for how we deploy the money more effectively. And Shelley didn't present anything like, here's some alternatives that we didn't feel like we had enough time for or anything. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because it colored the way I rated all of these items.
Thank you, Commissioner Menser. It was that you hit it right on the nail. I was like, I know I'm getting to something. It was like, but I didn't quite remember what it was, and you just hit it right on the nail. So thank you for that. Can we ask, I guess my request is gonna be like, can we ask Shelley for alternatives for this? Because
She's listening.
I'm at this point, I'm just not sold on this.
Okay, so this item will go on hold, and Romero is texting Shelley right now.
Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am.
So
Yep.
she will elaborate. I just got a text that there is some foundational public health requirements they need to spend on the specific staffing levels. And but she will elaborate more for Monday.
Right.
We'll revisit this, but and that's when
Or we could give her an extra day and
Right.
bring her back on Tuesday, but, yeah.
Tuesday.
But yeah, we'll bring Shelley in and we'll work on something. We'll figure it out. So I'm gonna keep going down this list, and if there are other items that you would like to put on hold for that conversation, just say so, okay? So the next item is line 6, it's B4029, Public Health Medical Assistant, Disease Control and Prevention. 1 FTE.
Is there any reason,
Hold or thumbs up? Go.
is there any reason that funding couldn't be provided by that foundational money?
That's exactly, it's coming
It
from the
is.
Concom.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm good with it.
There's a thumb, I see 3
So
thumbs
usually-
up for that.
Here's the acronym, Foundational Public Health.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right,
Okay.
so that's a yes.
Yep.
B4030 is from Public Health. It is a Public Health and Social Services Admin Assistant to Workforce Retention and Recruitment Training person.
It has an end date of 2023, so this is really a well-needed assistance. They have a lot of money coming in. And they need assistance.
I'm good.
Good or hold? Or no, I mean, those are your,
I'm not there with this one at all. So if there's other alternatives, I would like to see them too, so.
This is just really to address the bubble that we're currently working on. I mean, it's really related to COVID.
So,
uh,
although it's not related to COVID.
Well, it is because it's associated with what we currently have to do in public health.
If we're already going to hear more from Shelley, I'd put this one in this bucket. I wasn't sold on this
Oh.
one either.
Yeah,
okay, good,
because if we were to vote on it, it would be a no for me right now.
right. Line 8 is a Public Health and Social Services Accounting Assistant position. And they would pay for that from admin direct allocation and fund balance. And I would say that with COVID, they have an extreme amount of money coming into public health, more than the recovery fund. And they do need finance people to keep it all on track. So you see line 8 is a accounting assistant 2, line 9 is an accounting assistant 4. They do call out the work on the ERP, so this will be part of the ERP bundle. So we can hold and look at it then.
For me, I'm willing to fund, I'd rather fund the service accounting,
The higher
the
level
higher
accountant.
level accounting position.
For,
one, not both.
Yeah.
This is position 4, or I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
accounting
So
assistant.
I rather fund 9 than 8.
9 has an end date, so just so you.
Well, I would, we could always have if only one position is funded, we could do that one with no end date.
No end date. Is that the recommendation?
That's my recommendation.
So, line 9 with no end date. I just want to.
That's, yeah.
And not fund 8.
Okay. So it's not.
Were they both positions coming from the same place in terms of funding?
Well, they don't show where the money's coming from. They're talking about fund balance,
Oh, the 1,500.
yeah, in Fund 1500. So some of it'll be charged to COVID, some will be charged to other grants coming through public health. Sure, a lot of it'll be covered by the con.
But they have significant ending fund balance in 1,500. They always
Well,
do. Well, the way they have it.
well, yeah, we can talk about that.
Denise had her
Denise
hand.
has got her hand up.
I was just going to mention that they both had proposed end dates of December 2023.
Both end date. Thank you, Denise.
So they both have end dates?
Yeah,
So then I guess just keep the end date to 2023 then, like initially suggested.
Yeah, I'm good with the way they're proposed.
so, and only one, not both, Commissioner Menzer?
I'll support both.
Okay, we've got one commissioner supporting both, one commissioner supporting one, and Commissioner Edwards, that makes you the tiebreaker.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make it real easy, because it is coming from that, the Foundation of Public Health revenue source, right?
None of it
Or
is
is it?
from general fund.
It's not
Nothing from general fund,
Okay,
however.
okay, well, I'm gonna go with, the position, accounting number 4 on line 9. And I'm just gonna ask for a hold on line 8 and hear what the real issue was.
Okay, that is.
Is that okay with my seatmate?
I'm good with that, Commissioner. It sounds good.
All right, great.
So, to clarify.
So line 8 is a hold, line 9 is 3 thumbs up.
But is the line 9 removing the end date?
I think it's the way it's written.
The way it's written.
Yeah, they landed on the way it's written. As
No, it's not.
No?
No, I'm saying it's not in removing the end date.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes,
Right,
correct.
we're all on the same sheet of music.
I just want to clarify the
Okay.
discussion.
Good. All right, very good. Moving on to line 10, Public Health and Social Services. This is a placeholder for the revenue, roughly $580,000 for revenue that we anticipate will come in that is not paired up with other requests in this packet. And we'll have to true it up when we find out exactly how much we get.
Well, it's hard to say we don't want the revenue.
That's right. So
Thumbs up.
say yes to the revenue. And this, I'm sure, will come up when Shelley brings you the options.
All right, fess up. Who put a medium on accepting?
Was that
$500,000?
Commissioner Edwards?
It wasn't me.
It must have been. Commissioner Edwards and I had a snafu with Commissioner Edwards' items, so he said medium on everything.
Yeah, if I didn't turn it in.
If I didn't turn it in.
So line 12 is the next item on the list. It's public
Only
health
45.
COVID-19 placeholder. This again is both the anticipated revenue, we don't know how much it's gonna be, and the expenditures that go along with it so that we can move quickly and spend on the things we need as we continue to respond to the pandemic. The expenditures won't happen if the money doesn't come in. And if it would make you more comfortable, we could put a proviso to that effect. But this just gives them authority to spend if the money comes.
I'm good with it.
Yep, good. Yeah, I highly recommend yes to this. Okay. So, line 13 is B4036. It is the Public Health and Social Services Training and Travel. They are requesting an extra $50,000 a year for training. And Denise, are we putting together a training bucket for all the different training requests? Yes, we are. So we'll put this on hold where you can review this in context with all the other requests for training. Line 14 is the extend 3 public health and social service community health service or health nurse positions. Again, the department regularly receives grants to fund these positions. These positions all have end dates. These grants are gonna come, and I would recommend to you that we remove the end date, just like you did on one of the earlier lines. Because we're gonna get these grants.
Those are existing positions.
Yes,
Because
they
the
are.
existing positions end at the end of this year.
And this is Gretchen's shop.
Yes, it is. Yep, yep, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Thumbs up,
All right.
removing the end date.
Yes, good. Line 15 is to hire a public information specialist to work on the Public Health and Social Services website. So I've received some feedback that with the work that we're about to do on the county wide website, this may not be necessary.
Feedback
So,
from who?
well, I hesitate to say in
Oh.
an open meeting.
Okay. Well, I mean, if Shelley's saying that, then I'm gonna go with that, but if,
Right, it was not Shelley.
okay,
But I would be a little more plain if the director had proposed removing her own request, but that's not how this is. But we're about to invest in a whole lot of website design for the county.
I don't know anything about it, but I'm told it needs some help.
Right. So
This is
I'm
for
kind of
just
hesitating.
1 year, the end of 2022.
Why couldn't we put that one on hold? If Shelley's coming to talk to us anyway.
Let's do that. And I'll get additional information, so I'm not being so,
Yeah, that would be good
Mysterious.
because I'm not tracking what you're saying.
yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I realized I was being pretty vague there. So line 16 is the request that we just talked about for a outreach specialist 3. This one's going on hold until Shelley comes.
And what does that compare with? Which one back here?
Because
Line,
line 5.
Line 5,
yeah, way back.
line 5, outreach. 5, yeah, okay.
Okay, so I'm on page 8 at the top, line 17. We have the request for an FTE for social services, education, and outreach. So that will be on hold as well, although I don't see the revenue. This says it's going to use restricted funding received from a private donation in 2021.
You know, we get that
But
outfit
then
that
it
comes
goes
in
on
and
to
talks to us
2020.
about that family nurse partnership. Is that where that money's coming from? I can't name, I don't know the name of it.
It says it's related to the NFP program. It says they already have the money in their account to use. They have permission to roll it over. It's a bare minimum of what they need to fulfill the expectation of a coalition coordinator.
It's also an extension of an existing position, temporary position.
Oh, yeah.
And they've got money coming from a private source.
Well, that's what they say, that they've already got money in.
There's that group that comes through and talks to us once in a while about the family nurse partnership. It's a guy, I don't know if he's from Washington DC or here. I can't think of the name of the outfit. Gretchen would know.
So.
I am supporting this one. I don't remember the exact details, but I can tell from my notes that it was explained well at the Raven's presentation and I was comfortable with it.
Okay,
I think I'm comfortable with it too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm arranged with
All
the
right.
tie, so.
yeah, good. We'll say yes to that one then, 3 thumbs up. Line 18 is a position for a housing social service specialist who would work on contacts. I think that might be missing an R and it means they would work on contracts. Denise, could you, contracts, I think that should be contracts. And if it is, then I could tell you for sure that they absolutely need someone to help them
It
with
is
contracts.
contracts, it does say.
Is that something in Tom's shop that he needs to have somebody keep track of all that?
Yes, this would be from Fund 14.
Because honestly, I'm not in favor of throwing more money at this problem without holding people more accountable. But on the other hand, if we need to have somebody balance the books properly so we don't get in a pickle,
And do the contracts appropriately.
I'm inclined to
So-
support Tom on that.
One of the things we need in managing our contracts, especially around housing, is you have to monitor your subgrants on a regular basis. And if this person would be assisting with that, I know that they need the additional help.
There is a lot of need on that part of the business.
Okay,
And it seems like it's gonna be not from, it's gonna be state grant funded and from HB 1277, so.
Yep.
It's not
Yep.
gonna,
You're gonna do more with more money, you need more people to administer the programs.
yeah,
Yeah,
thumbs
and,
thumbs up for me.
This one has an end date of 2023. I suggested for you to consider removing the end date because that need is not going to disappear in 2 years.
No, it's gonna go on.
Right.
I think we should just consider it to 2023 and then reassess where we are at.
I'll go along with, I give it a thumbs up and going along with Commissioner
Okay.
Mayhew.
So as is with the end date.
Yeah.
Commissioner
With the
Mensah, do
review.
you? All right. With review in 23. Oh, it'll come up for review. Everything with an end date, we always make sure it comes back. Line 19 is, they're asking for a reclassification of a social service specialist 1. It's half an FTE. It will remain as half an FTE. It's a higher classification so that the person can provide higher level support. Oh wait, lower level support? Higher level of program support.
Yes,
So,
it's a high level. It's going
oh
from
yeah, they're gonna go from a 1 to a 2, not a 2 to a
administrative
1.
assistant to a social services specialist.
Why are they talking about a social service specialist too?
No, this work is currently being done by a social services specialist. So supplemented.
Oh, I see. It's gonna let the SSS2 do other things, and the admin person will go up.
That makes
It's a
sense.
very small amount of money to get the right amount of work. Let's say it that way.
Thumbs up.
Yes,
Thumbs up.
thumbs up. Thank you. We probably spent that much money just talking about it. Line 20 is the Housing Social Specialist 2 position. This is another new FTE that would be paid for out of the new home funding. And,
I'm not gonna be supportive of that,
all right,
just so you know.
We don't have home funding yet.
That's right.
true.
That's why I put it as low, because we're not there.
Yeah, you discussed that in the presentation, but that was a no.
Okay, so this is a thumbs down. Am I seeing 3 thumbs down? All right.
Yeah, I think the conversation was a little bit too premature.
Okay, so line 21, B4107 is the request for increasing the surcharge and fee-funded program. And this is to reflect that you have additional revenue coming in because the documents being recorded is just going up. So this is a request to acknowledge the revenue and give appropriations authority to be able to spend it.
And it can only go for certain things.
Yes, it can. It's restricted. I see 1 thumbs up. Commissioner Mintzer, thumbs
Yeah.
up. All right, 3 thumbs up. And we're on the last page. We've got a minute to go. Line 22 is new revenue and expenditures related to House Bill 1277, 4.5 million coming in and going out.
And that is coming, so.
Yep. Thumbs up. Commissioner Edwards up, and Menser is a thumbs up too. And line 23, this is to increase the 1406 affordable housing program. Again, the revenue's going up and the request to book the new revenue in 22 and spend it in 23.
I don't know that we vote against it. It's coming.
This is the portion of the sales tax that the state gets. And because of the sales tax, they're getting.
We're bringing it
Just getting
in.
more money.
Yep, up, thumbs up. All right, good. And last item on this list, Housing Social Service Specialist 2, new position. It's 1 FTE. It'll be paid for with a variety of funds. Treasury, rental assistance, all kinds of funding streams coming into the housing. And it is to provide more timely and accurate information about program performance, availability, and eligibility.
Okay. I see this, the homeless camp is still out there on the highway on 101. Anyway, I'm not supporting this.
Okay, Commissioner Mejia,
This, I would like more info on, I rated it
more
a
info on
medium.
this?
Okay, maybe a hold for Shelley to come back?
Okay, I mean, maybe that's what I need too, I don't know that.
Okay, and Commissioner Menser, we're talking about putting this last item on hold?
You're on mute.
Sorry. Yes, that's fine. I had this on medium, so I'm happy to hear more about it.
Okay, cool. Then we're done for today.
Wow.
Good job.
You can leave your stuff here.
Oh yeah, everything can
We
stay
lock the
here.
door, if you like.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I have to move my stuff. Commissioner, I don't know if Commissioner Munster will be here.
We can all spread out a little better. So Commissioner Menser, would you like to wrap us up?
Yeah, okay. So that's the tail end of the afternoon budget session then. We'll be back at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Picking up with the next packet of items. Thanks for everybody's hard work. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.